Hello, this is Fake the Nation, where we talk about news, we talk about politics, and where two things are happening at once. I'm Negin Farsad, and this episode is dropping while I'm in Chicago, guest hosting Wait, Don't Tell Me. So you have two Negin opportunities, or Negin opportunities, to hear me this week. Today, we'll talk about Meta smart glasses, we'll look at the finale and possible future spin-off of the Murdoch Fox News drama, plus, unemployment is hitting college grads the hardest, and finally, we're all swearing more and more now. What does that say about us? Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited about today's panel. We are joined by a comedian and host of Hot Mess-terpiece Theatre, a podcast about reality TV that's like treating it like it's real art. It is the wonderful Jolenta Greenberg. Hey, Jolenta.
Hi, thank you for having me.
We are also joined by my very longtime friend. Oh my God, I love this guy. You've seen him on like a million TV shows, so his face incredibly familiar. He's also been a writer for like for late night and just like fancy things out there. He is also a regular on Wait, Don't Tell Me, where I've had the just absolute honor of sitting next to him as he tells very dumb jokes. It is the wonderful Peter Grosz. Hey, Peter.
Thank you, Negin. I agree with most of that as far as just the accuracy, but none of the superlatives. It sounded.
You know what? Nice. We always have to like fact check my introductions in real time because I can go off the rails, and the next thing you know, I'm telling pregnant women not to take Tylenol. You know what I mean? So like always, keep me in check, guys. Keep me in check. And before we get into the show, I just want to remind listeners that in this era where we need to lean on independent media even more, please feel free to join me on my Patreon at patreon.com/Negin Farsad. You get bonus episodes of the show for as little as $4 a month. You get more at higher tiers. The support means a lot because talking about politics is like not tremendously popular for advertisers. So go to patreon.com/Negin Farsad and I'm so grateful to all the support that I've gotten thus far. All right, let's get into it with topic number one. Okay, Meta is already on the next generation of their Ray-Ban style smart glasses. And to my horror, I recently found out that they have actually sold 2 million pairs of these things.
What?
I know!
It's too many.
Now,
how many outside of Silicon Valley company employees?
Right.
Those?
Yeah, I'd like to think that many.
Yeah.
Exactly, because I don't know anyone. But look, we've seen an attempt at these glasses before, most notably the glass hole era with Google. Yeah. But I guess, what do you think of Zuckerberg's foray into the world? And by the way, Zuckerberg's not the only one. There's a couple of other glasses out there. But just like we're trying again to do glasses, but for real this time, and 2 million units sold style. So, and I will say the Ray-Ban factor, I don't know how heavy they are, I don't know how comfortable they are, but the Ray-Ban
very and not much.
That's my guess. They look like the clunkiest Ray-Bans you've ever seen.
Yeah. Wait, so have you physically seen one? Have you physically manhandled?
I've seen a pair.
In the wild?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My UPS driver wears a pair. He
What?
started like a few days ago. He started wearing a pair. And I kind of get it for the job because he has to take pictures of like things he delivers. And it's just a good way to keep a record of like what he's doing for the job. So in a way, I sort of understood it, but it also freaked me out.
So
that
okay,
seems like an unlikely like income bracket for the target market for the glasses. So I hope that UPS is paying for those and they're not coming out of his pocket.
I hope maybe they were funded for him. Yeah.
Right. Like maybe this is a pilot program for like an actual use case scenario of who could actually need it. Because the other thing is that, like, you know, reading from some of they had like a product, one of those product on stage things. What do they call those?
Like a
those
launch
things.
development.
Product launch, whatever, yes. For the next generation, and they all dress up, and they said go on stage, and everyone.
I love that none of us know the actual term for this.
We're very technical.
You're good company. I like you both very much.
I know. First of all, I'm like, let's talk about it. Let's shit on it, and I've never seen one in the wild. No, but I also feel like This of all of the things that upset me, this upsets me. No, that's not true. Like, of all the things that upsets me, they all upset me. Yeah. There's that. This one upsets me at the same level of so many other things, which is a lot. Which is to say, I don't like the idea of anyone having sort of like a blank stare in my general direction, but actually looking at an icon in their own face. What do you guys think?
I don't love the idea that someone else is having like a different visual experience out in the world. Like VR is something that you can use at home, and you sort of set it up and you do whatever you do. You play games or I don't know why I started with games, but it's probably porn for most people. But dancing around it. But it feels strange to think that someone is having a different visual experience out in the real world than you are. And I would imagine that's going to lead to accidents, driving accidents, people walking into people. It can't be. It doesn't seem like an everyday, all the time occurrence. I'm really surprised the UPS driver, emphasis on the word driver, is using them.
Yeah. Also, did you notice, like, from the way they looked, that they were Meta glasses, or did you? Or you guys had?
It was very obvious.
It was very obvious.
Like I was on the sidewalk, he was in his truck, and we were like, "Whoa, are you?"
Does it come with one of those big chains that Zuckerberg wore?
No, it didn't. Sadly,
curls your hair.
Is he into jujitsu? Has he gone that route?
I haven't asked, but maybe.
I mean, the one time I've seen smart glasses worn where I actually didn't immediately realize it was I was in the audience of the TED Talks, because I've given TED Talks. Guys, it's not a big deal, but you can see my recent one. It came out a few weeks ago. And I'm the person who like really reduces the level of intellect on a TED stage. But the other person that does that is this guy named Palmer Luckey. He is, you guys might know him from such things as he made Oculus, like he invented Oculus.
He sounds like a Coen Brothers character.
Yeah, for real.
I'm not going to urge people to watch this TED Talk because I don't need his ego to be inflated, but basically the work that he's doing is trying to get AI into weaponry, like military weapon. Let's all clap. Peter's clapping for that. But ironically,
that's the Nobel Peace Prize of Soviet research.
So this was like it was like one of those TED Talks where I'm like in the audience and I'm afraid. So many TED Talks actually make you feel better. You're like, oh, there's a solution. Look at this solution. Look at that solution, and you kind of feel better. And this is one of those TED Talks where you're just like, I fear for the world. And this guy was just on stage acting like AI and killing machines, great idea. Let's just completely abdicate our murder decisions onto autonomous weapons. Anyways, it was a traumatizing talk, but the reason I bring it up is because he was wearing the glasses and apparently, and they were not Meta, I think they were another band, reading his talk because he didn't memorize it, which is one of like Ted's rules. You're supposed to memorize it. Oh. But he was reading the talk, and I guess that was a use case. I mean, I guess if you refuse to memorize something, I guess that's a use case that was, it was relatively fluid. There you go. That's all I have to say about that.
So it's for UPS drivers on one end of the spectrum. And AI murder machine advocates on the other.
And like the creator of Skynet in real life.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
But do look up like a second of this TED Talk because he does have a feeling of like, oh my God, I'm scared of this one guy. This is probably not the last time we'll talk about Palmer Luckey on this show.
Hopefully he'll be like in front of the International Criminal Court in The Hague next time we talk about him.
There you go. Yeah. And like he'll be using his smart glasses to summon a defense for his actions. Now, before we end our culture segment here, we have with us an expert in an aspect of culture that has gone under-attended on Fake the Nation. We did do a series on The Golden Bachelor. I did a reaction pod to The Golden Bachelor, which was a huge leap for me because before The Golden Bachelor, I probably watched 20 minutes of reality TV altogether. Now, Jolenta, as someone who really knows that biz, can you tell me, for the uninitiated like myself, what would get me to really enjoy reality TV? Is there something out there that I can sink my teeth into? Because I have been thinking that I need to have something truly kind of like unimportant to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In these trying times, having some brain candy, it can help.
Yes.
I guess, would you enjoy watching Alan Cumming running around a castle wearing like sometimes things are close to like a wedding dress?
This is
that
the
could pique your interest.
What's the name of that show?
Recommend The Traitors.
The Traitors, right.
I can second that.
Really? Okay.
Very fun. I don't watch it
Because-
all the time, but it's
Right.
something that I catch at my girlfriend's when.
So
she's like, "Can we
Peppermint,
watch this?" And I say,
Right.
Peppermint, who is a regular on Fake the Nation,
Yes.
and just like an all around fantastic lady, is was on. I don't know how many seasons of Traitors there's been, but like she was on a season of Traitors,
Yes.
and she was like voted off early in
I
the
think
process.
was first off, and
First
everyone was, or near first, and everyone, all the viewers were very upset. And
Yeah, because she's
it
very
just-
fun.
Yeah, I would say like she just seemed like such a nice sweetie that everyone,
And-
all the viewers were like, "This looks shady. This looks gross."
Right. She's such a nice sweetie who also does astute political and cultural analysis, by the way.
Right.
Tune in
Like,
for the
like
days
whip
she's on the
smart,
show.
yeah.
But yeah, so what is it about? I mean, is it like people being treacherous but in an obvious way? Is that what's fun about it?
What it is I don't know if you were a theater kid the way I was, but we used to play a
Yes.
game called Mafia or Murder, where everyone would like sit in a circle and there are secret people like taking out
Right.
other people. It's basically that, but TV format, and they do some like weird physical challenges that aren't like too hard because a lot of them are like Real Housewives and stuff. So
Right.
you can't make like a new grandma like do something crazy. But it's a good foray into reality TV because the cast is a smattering of all sorts of people from reality TV. Sometimes there are like politicians. There's usually a British politician thrown in for some reason. I think they think if we're removed from it a little bit, like we can watch them more.
Which, by the way, I mean, British politicians were like uncivil and more garbagey than American politicians were for decades longer than American politicians have only relatively recently stepped into garbage behavior. Like, and I'm talking about like public civility stuff.
Right.
But British politicians would yell on the parliament floor with their fucking wigs on like all the
Right.
time, you
Yeah,
know.
they're flashy.
So that makes sense that they would do Traitors.
Right. Yeah.
All right, I'm taking
But
notes.
It's a good introduction. Alan Cumming adds some like artistry to it and makes it feel a little elevated. And you get a glimpse at people on Housewives, people on
Yeah.
Selling Sunset, people on Survivor, Big Brother. You can kind of get a little sampling of all of them.
I will say also Alan Cumming, who doesn't need my vote of approval to be
Right.
determined to be entertaining. He does he plays it very tongue in cheek, so it's like very dramatic, but you know that he's
Right,
doing
that it's a
that
joke.
so that it's fun and it's funny and it's silly, and it is. It's really.
By the
exciting.
way, I sometimes see him riding his bike here in the East Village.
Oh my
All
goodness.
right, there we go. Everyone's connection to Alan Cumming.
Famous bike rider Alan Cumming.
Famous bike rider. All right, let's get it. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will continue with talk about politics. And we are back, and we're ready for topic number 2. Okay, so the face of long-term unemployment is now college graduates. So unemployment is about 4%, but the portion of those people that have been unemployed for a long term, that's more than 6 months, that number is the highest it's been for 3 years. okay, at 26%. And now that's already bad. But what's worse is that about 1/3 of the long-term unemployed are college grads, which is up from 1/5 a decade ago. So it used to be that if you had a college education, you were sort of inoculated. And as I say all of these words, my heart rate is starting to fucking jump out of my chest. But like, it used to be that if you had a college degree, you were inoculated from unemployment to a certain extent. And now we're seeing that effect dwindle. What do you guys think of this? Peter, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I have a very visceral reaction to it because my son is a junior in high school.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so his passion is like music.
Okay.
And he's very good at the STEM stuff. So he could kind of study that, but he's really into music and he wants to go into sort of like music production stuff. And I can't tell if that's one of the careers that is screwed. Like, I wonder if I feel like AI is just like coming for so many careers, and I can't tell if like a music producer or something is one
of those careers.
Yeah,
that's coming
I don't
for?
know, because I feel like, I mean, not to get too much into the weeds on my son's career choice, but I think it's broadly applicable. Is some careers you're just going to incorporate it into what you already do. You know, I think it's more like, if I wouldn't tell someone to be a long haul truck driver, because there's probably going to be, trucks that are like autonomous vehicles or something. But I don't know. I think between like a general distrust of college and stats like this, I also wonder, like, should I even send him to college?
Has that come up for him, or that's just come up for you personally?
It's just like, because we're actually thinking about it this year, and we're going to start like visiting schools and looking at payment and all that kind of stuff. You know, the rubber's meeting the road, so I actually have to just ask the existential question, like, do I even send him? And then if you wanted proof that I was in New York City, there it is. A local ambulance is choosing to go down my street.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, now we all hear it. Okay.
It's picking up a mother who's having a heart attack because her son has a college degree and is unemployed.
and doesn't have a job.
Yeah, he doesn't have a job. But he went to Columbia. I don't know what happened.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Jolenta, what do you think? How did this news find you?
I'm like surprised, but also not. I don't know. Maybe it's myopic, but part of me kind of blames the college admissions scandal too, where I feel like
the one with the
one with the celebrities,
the celebrity moms, right. Okay. But
I feel like once we learn, like, oh, it's sort of common for like a ring of rich people to be like faking sports photographs to get their kids, spots in good colleges. Mm-hmm. You start going, oh, this is elitist, and it may not be all it's cracked up to be. Like, we may be being sort of fed a line about college, but that might be going too deep into the weeds.
I think you get so much out of college that isn't just what you're studying. I certainly know plenty of people.
I totally agree. I loved college.
Yeah, and I do know plenty of people. Maybe it's just because we're in this career where you kind of don't need college. You just need your wits about you to some degree. Like a lot of stand-ups, I feel like, don't go to college. Writers probably do, but I know plenty of actors. I came out of the improv world in Chicago, and there were a handful of people who.
A lot of people don't need college, but I would say I don't know very many people that didn't go to college, like among comedians.
Yeah, I mean, I think I know some people who didn't go. I know some people who went and dropped out.
Yeah, I know a fair amount that didn't finish, but
yeah.
I would say for sure. I know a handful of those people too, but I would say like a cool 95% of the comedians I know, and this is I'm making this number up completely, but I would say I'm going to just double down. 95% of the comedians I know, which is all of them. have a college degree. Now, one of the reasons that they say that this is happening is there's simply more college graduates today than there were 10 years ago. Okay, so that kind of makes numeric sense. The other thing they're saying is the job market for people without college degrees has improved, which I don't know. That sounds...
What are those jobs?
Exactly. I'm like, there are probably a lot of healthcare jobs.
Like trade school, too?
Or does this mean, like, if I have an OnlyFans or I'm an influencer, that, like, sustains me, then I'm not unemployed? Because I would imagine that number is millions more than it used to be.
Than it was. And actually...
0 10 years ago, and now it's got to be few million, probably.
I gotta be honest,
couple million?
the reporting that I have read on this issue has not addressed OnlyFans, and I really, now that you bring it up, it feels like a hole in the reporting.
That is the research that needs to be done.
That's the research that needs to be done. Here's a big one, though, that I thought, that I forgot, but it makes total fucking sense, is Trump's cuts to the federal workforce. Yeah,
Yes.
that
Right.
fucking...
Oh my gosh.
That was like
totally.
tens of thousands
Right.
of jobs.
I was like, it's not like boomers still not leaving their jobs. Like, that's not it. Oh my gosh, of course.
And all those
It's
people
literally-
for sure have college degrees. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, of course. You have
Yep.
to. I'm sure you have to. Yeah.
So
What's long-term unemployed? 6 months? A year?
it's
There
over
must
6
be
months.
some-
Over 6 months.
Yeah.
That's when you hit long term.
Checking the math.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
March.
That-
Yeah.
that works out.
Are lining up.
Yeah.
And then here's AI is the other big reason why this could be happening. Now, one thing that one of the articles I read mentioned was that even before ChatGPT came out, other types of software like accounting software, like more like earlier forms of AI in finance and like merchandise planning and stuff like that, made some people obsolete. So we've already been kind of seeing the effects of like early AI play out in some of these statistics, never mind generative AI. And we're talking about your son. AI is putting a lot of jobs at risk. I wonder, like, as comedians, both of you, like, you were talking about being like a music producer or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, I imagine it's a job that requires a large amount of taste, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like you need to listen to a thing and be like, this needs more drums, right? That feels like something that no amount of generative AI could figure out.
Yeah.
So it feels like that would be safe. I don't know, what kind of jobs do you think would be safe?
I don't know. I think that's right, though. I think it's the things like accomplishing a task type jobs. I think
Right.
are on their way out.
On their way out.
I would imagine, right? Like the actual editor of the music or the film or something, where it's take this piece and slide it over here, or EQ something and change it, like that kind of stuff. You can probably just say to AI, like, make this moodier, and then that is a bunch of settings. And then it comes out moodier, and then you can adjust that once you get it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like writing too. Like, write this script in this way, and then you can edit. Because editing, in some ways, is kind of easier than generating. Like a first draft of a script, I think we all know, is
Right.
very difficult.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a slog. So I think like the tastemakers, the editors, the people who are going to be moving things around, hopefully will be safe. But I guess I don't really know. There's so many worlds that I don't know anything about.
Well, Jolenta,
live performance, all I know is like that can't be replaced.
That
so
can't
Right,
be
that's-
right.
replaced,
That's
right.
what I
I'm
keep
happy
thinking
about
I'm
that.
like
Fucking-
physical tasks. Like I don't think. Well, I don't know. Like I don't think AI can like run my grocery store yet or like my deli, but it probably can. Like I don't know what it can do.
Like replace the people
I'm
at the store.
scared. Yeah, and it's like I guess I can do self checkout, but like it can't replace like someone at the deli counter, can it?
Well, it definitely can't replace the little chat you have with someone at the deli counter.
Well, that's for sure.
That's right.
The like, did you see the fucking size of the hail balls outside? Holy fuck! That little conversation about
Hot today.
apocalyptic weather.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's mostly hot today. Yep. I read a little piece in USA Today, God's publication, and it said they did like a roundup of kind of like labor analysts talking about what jobs are most likely to go. The jobs that are least likely to be automated are the ones that require judgment or taste, like your son's potential future as a music producer. Basically, in my mind, he's already, Quincy Jones?
Yeah.
He's
Oh
safe.
my God.
He's thriving.
He's totally
Yeah.
fine. He's doing a thing with Pharrell right now. It's so good. It's
He's
like such a
sending-
big hit.
He can discern which takes to use with his taste.
Here's another one. Roles that require empathy, judgment, and physical skills will remain resistant to AI. So, empathy. Is it hot today? It is, huh? And then the other guy goes, yeah. and then that's an empathy moment, and that can't be taken away.
That's the most empathy you can come up with?
Or
yes,
like,
it is
you
hot.
know, I don't want an AI therapist.
I know. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is
I would say, which sadly I think people use ChatGPT for, which
100%.
just bums me
Do
out.
they really? Wait, who do you know uses
I don't know anyone
ChatGPT for
personally.
therapy?
I've just seen articles that are like, people are doing it. We should be
did
scared of it.
I did an experiment once where we asked ChatGPT stuff, and it just gives you like real down the middle stuff. But if you are in a full crisis and you just need a sounding board, it, I think, kind of does. It does a better job than you stewing in your room and not talking to anybody about it, or talking to your worst friend who's like, I don't know, maybe you should hurt yourself. Like,
Well, except for like, and I don't mean to bring down the mood, but except for like the really horrible
Yeah.
cases that are like now in court about, what is it called, like companion AI, or I honestly can't read any of these stories because they involve children like harming themselves and committing suicide, and it's just because they've developed these relationships with chatbots, whatever, and the chatbot will tell them like to do something bad to themselves, and they do. That is, I mean, first of all, I mean, I don't know how you're dealing with this, Peter. Your son's older. My daughter's 6. I just don't want her around fucking anything that can like, that has an algorithmic element, right?
Yeah.
I don't want her around fucking Spotify. I don't want her around YouTube. I don't want, it doesn't matter. Anything that's algorithmically something, I don't want her around it. And then the other thing is like, I don't want her around anything that'll talk back to her. I mean, that just terrifies me.
yeah. Yeah,
So-
I mean, unless you're just constantly there for it and giving her context, I think that's a good.
Yeah,
that's a good instinct.
I would agree.
Right. Okay, folks, let me know about your feelings about the current job market and whether or not you're suffering and whether or not AI took your job, or Trump or AI. Who took your job? All right, and let us now let's shift gears a little bit because I want to talk about the Murdochs. They have basically finally aired the series finale of their Succession show.
Yeah.
And in this one, 3 of the children each get $1.1 billion. These are numbers that I can understand easily. But Lachlan Murdoch, who's the conservative one, will now run News Corp that owns Fox News, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post. He will end up with a bunch of the money, and he'll continue to run Fox, hopefully into the ground. But at least for the time being, we know that Fox will continue to be a conservative outlet. I don't know. Jolenta, what do you think about how this show ended?
I'm not like massively surprised. I think, it's, what do I think? I think I'm not surprised. I think hopefully just the audience for Fox News will die off, and they won't know how to transition to, TikTok or socials very well, and that will be it.
I mean,
Yeah,
they might
I mean,
literally
because
die off.
that's-
very
that's-
possible.
Yeah.
Well, look, and the funny thing about Fox News, because one of the pieces we circulated about this is that basically Lachlan Murdoch has inherited a shit ton, but he's also inherited it in the deal. There's some sort of like $1 billion of debt that he's taken on so that he can run the thing, but also Fox News's viewership is aging. It's like primarily old people. And so obviously we know what's been happening with news channels like MSNBC, whatever, CNN, all of their
Now,
numbers
those
keep
people
declining.
their viewers get a lot of their news from Taylor Sheridan shows now. Like, have you heard about this rumble out on the range? It's like,
Oh my God, I did like 4 seasons of Yellowstone.
oh really? I haven't watched a minute of any of them, and everybody's like, they're kind of good.
I mean, I would say the 4 seasons of Yellowstone, minus anything having to do with women, the depiction of women is insane in that show. Peter, did you know that women yell so much and they're so unreasonable? Okay,
I learned that 30 years ago on
ladies,
sitcoms, so yes, I got it.
Ladies, you gotta hush up and stop being so hysterical. But it is interesting because Fox News, the audience is getting old, so it's like Murdoch. I mean, is Fox News? If you were in the prediction game, Peter, what do you think happens with Fox News? Is it just continue being popular, or does like podcasts sweep it away?
Right. I mean, I think they wouldn't be immune to some larger trend, like about broadcast television. I do know that Fox, I think they're, I guess that's Fox Broadcast though, which is different than Fox News, right? They're like making some giant deal to have their own streaming the way Peacock and Paramount, and Disney and Hulu are connected to their networks. But yeah, they're not going to be immune from some larger trend that renders broadcast news or even cable news obsolete. But what they're more in danger from is probably the like One America News and Newsmax and people coming at them from the right because they can't centralize and find success. Like no one's going to respect them if they're not, like the North Star of conservative thought,
Right.
So unless they do pivot to some kind of, like TikTok presence or like, I mean, I think all their people have podcasts, right? Doesn't Hannity have a radio show?
I guess they do have podcasts, but it's not where I don't think where young conservatives are.
Yeah, because I would
getting
say
their news or feeling heard.
No, I mean that's.
I would say crazily. I mean, it's like Tucker Carlson, which is an old Fox News celebrity. Megyn Kelly, the same, and I would say Ben Shapiro is the kind of like youngest of the bunch or whatever out there in the podcast world. I mean, and there's so many more whose names I don't know and blah blah blah. But like,
But also, those people
Dan
are in it for
Bongino
themselves.
was one.
Those people are in it for themselves. They're not in it for some larger network,
right?
Like
yeah,
most,
they're independent.
There's even like podcasters that are really popular. They might be on, a network, but there's not like, oh, I'm so loyal to, whatever, like one
right.
whatever it is, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it would be great to see. My only hope would be that Rupert Murdoch is still alive when it all goes to shit, but I don't know if I don't know if it's going to happen in that quick of a time frame. I don't know how much like vampire blood he's drinking.
Right. He sleeps in like a chamber of like
exactly.
I don't know, breast milk or something every night.
Yeah, ice or something. Yeah.
Ice and breast milk.
Well, and what's crazy is that like this whole thing went down, and Rupert basically he's 91 or 3 or something like that. I mean, he's in his 90s. We don't even need to get specific anymore about which part of the 90s.
Yeah.
He's not a young man, and I think a bunch of his kids don't speak to him anymore, all because of this. And what's also interesting is, okay, Trump still goes on Fox News, blah, blah, blah. Fox News is still his main source of news. However, Trump is also suing the Wall Street Journal, which is such an interesting compartmentalization. Because I'm like, you realize it's the same fucking owners.
It's guys, yeah.
But like one of his guys, he's suing. So he's suing the Wall Street Journal for the reporting of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. P.S. Release the files. And yet he's still going on Fox News. So he's also like, it's kind of just a ridiculous balancing act for Fox or for News Corp to have both sides, to be playing both sides of this one guy.
Yeah. They've always done that, though. I mean, they've always, he takes up so much oxygen that they are this gigantic multi-billion-dollar international company, and they still pivot off of what he does. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Why?
Insane. Yeah.
Just let go of that one guy, and then let other people. And I still believe this in my heart of hearts, that most Republicans would rather him not be around.
Probably, if they got the same results.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the last. I mean, it feels like the last gasp of a just kind of old school traditional American patriarchal like white ruling
Hate-filled
class.
Yeah,
and even just more hate filled because they feel the power slipping.
Right.
And it's funny,
Right.
that was like Literally, the first thing I had to do, the CBC radio, that's a Canadian NPR, the morning after the 2016 elections, they had me on. I was doing that and NPR, like back-to-back hits. And they had me on so I could be like, "Ooh, let's talk about Hillary Clinton's pantsuits," or whatever. And it was supposed to be literally, "Oh, Negin, we'll have you on for a lighthearted segment on," And I was like, great. It's like, 8:30 in the morning, like people driving to work crying in Canada and globally. And I mean, and they were just like, "Do you think you could say anything upbeat?" And I was like, "How am I gonna fuck?" And I said exactly that. This feels like the last gasp. What I didn't realize at the time is last gasps, they last for a long time.
Decades long.
Yeah.
They're a long time. We had a historian on last week who wrote a book about John Quincy Adams, and he was telling me that politicians have typically the popularity of a politician will last about 17 years. And so he was like, depending on how you calculate it, we have about 10 more years of Trump. And I was like, point of order, can't we track it back to like the birther movement?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He almost ran in 2012.
Right.
Exactly. So I would say his political life started then, which means we only have a few more years left, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Let's
right.
close it out
the bell
strong.
curve of it goes up. We've probably passed the middle.
Crashes.
Yeah.
Also, there's just like a life expectancy thing where he's over 80 at this point,
Yeah.
He doesn't look great.
No.
Well, if you look at, last week we talked about the Tylenol press thing, because this is airing next week, guys. Doesn't matter. Time is what it is. Point is, we talked about his Tylenol presser, and that felt crazy. It felt really crazy, and it did feel like, I guess also like when an old man has no controls, like that's what goes.
So many
that's what
things
happens.
about him just shouldn't be in the public, and in the center of what is public life. Even in 2016, it felt like all of the people that are coming out of the woodwork and enjoying the crazy things that he says and feeling the access to the levers of power, to be charitable, let's just say everybody can have their opinions, even if they're insane and racist and harmful.
Which is, by the way, protected by the First Amendment. Continue.
Absolutely. They're absolutely welcome to believe in what they want to believe. What I think is probably a bad outcome is those people being in the halls of power and being like, what does this lever do? What happens if I press this button? What goes over here? Let's shut this thing down. They're supposed to be on the outside shouting their crazy shit, and the people who are responsible are supposed to be like, well, thank you, but thank you, and then they sit on the outside and they have their beers in the corner of a bar and they grow old and they have their opinion, and because of cable news and social media, that is now we all get to hear all of it, and it's just a waste of everybody's time.
Oh, all right. Well, folks, let us move on to a related subject. And by the way, if there's something that happened politically and we didn't cover it, it's because we're taping this a little bit early this week. So apologies, but we'll be back on Talk next week. But anyways, I wanted to talk about this stuff.
Predictions for what is going to happen next week.
I mean, pregnant women, they can't have Tylenol and they can't have granola, okay? Granola has also been deemed medically.
Yeah, if there's coconut, reacts with the almonds, and it's very bad for the baby. That's what we've learned.
All right, well, let's get into it. Topic number 3. Mark Edmondson wrote a piece called Why Do We All Swear All the Time? And I immediately clicked on it because I've been a potty mouth basically since high school, and I never really toned it down. But I have noticed in general, and I always felt like I was a potty mouth, but I wasn't necessarily surrounded by potty mouths. But I have noticed more swearing openly among civilians. And by civilians, I mean non-comedians. And before we get into the larger question of why, I guess, what is your personal relationship with swearing, Jolenta? Have you had one?
It's close. It's a close
Okay.
It's intimate.
We go way back. I was always getting lectured by my dad for making us sound for sounding uneducated, according to him, because I swore a lot. My mom always swore, so I swore.
Oh, interesting. And were you allowed to swear as a young person, or was your mom like?
I wasn't supposed to, but the parent that cared about it wasn't around, so who gave a shit? Like,
right.
What was your mom like? Origin of her swearing?
She was raised by a bricklayer. That's what she says is her excuse. And
that's really funny.
Oh yeah, bricklayers famously big swears.
You know those stonemasons.
If you work with any noun that ends in CK.
Right, yeah.
If you're a bricklayer, if you have something to do with sticks, it's just too close to fuck. It's just
yeah.
Oh yeah. Peter, what is your relationship with swearing?
I was never brought up to like specifically yes, do it or don't. But my dad he was brought up in Romania, but he spoke Hungarian because he was sort of from the part of Romania that used to be Hungary before the Treaty of Versailles and all that kind of stuff. And he was born in 1935, so it wasn't really that.
Oh my God, I was waiting for you to bring up the Treaty of Versailles, by the way. You fucking hang it. Peter is like one of those Harvard grads that like always brings up the Treaty of Versailles.
I'm not a Harvard grad. How dare you? Yes, before we started recording, I was filling their ears with arcane facts about the treaty. No, I was just all that to say my dad was from Romania but spoke Hungarian because of the Treaty of Versailles. No, but he would curse in Hungarian. That's where I'm getting to. Often, like if he stubbed his toe, he would curse in Hungarian, and it was always like a source of great amusement. But a great way to like hide it from your kids is to curse
in another language. Yeah.
It's really fun. I don't know if you know any good like Farsi curses.
Well, and actually, now that you're saying this about your dad, it made me realize that like part of the reason I was able to like develop my cursitude so fully is because I spoke Farsi at home, so I was never going to get in trouble. I don't even really know curse words in Farsi. My Farsi is so clean. It's so childlike and cute. Like, it's like...
That's funny. It's like I'm
Farsi. I'm like a clean comic in
like
Farsi.
Good girl Farsi, yeah.
Yeah, good girl Farsi.
Really
but like
funny.
in English, no one was out there telling me what to say and what not to say, so I could just let it rip, you know? And I think that's what happened. I just developed on two tracks like that.
My son, well, I will just say this quickly.
Yeah.
So he's 16. I've started to like allow him to curse, or I curse. It's more just like peer friend level conversation.
Yeah,
And the dam broke like a year ago when he was having like a really hard time with one of his friends, and he was complaining, and he just was trying to find the words to say, and he just said, he's just being such a dick. And it was, I was like, that's actually kind of accurate. You found a way, even using a curse, to accurately describe the way that someone is. And there's a reason these words exist. Like overuse is overuse, but people over and misuse words like literally all the time. So I'd rather someone accurately use the word dick than inaccurately use the word literally.
Well, here's the larger question that the piece brought up, which is sort of like, is this what feels like an uptick in swearing? Obviously, also, we're presided over. I actually even think Trump has a personal uptick in swearing, because there was like been a few clips out there where he's just cursed on the more
and they
than
show it unbleeped on the news.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it.
And that's a big part of it, right? In the first term, I don't remember him straight up cursing like that, like at this level. But this has been really, I feel like, very crazy. So we're seeing this moment, and the question is it some kind of linguistic liberation for us all, or is it something else?
I do think. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I do think there is more. I feel like probably everyone says this about every time period, but it feels like there's more to swear about these days.
Yeah.
You know?
More than the fucking French Revolution?
Right. That's the
mean,
thing,
but
where it's like,
Peter
I don't know, like, it does feel apropos to say, like, fuck ice, you know? But
Yeah.
Right. And also, I bet you there are people out there being like, Robespierre is a dick.
Yeah,
You know?
I had this the only way I could say it.
only
like,
word I
that's
can
it.
find.
Yeah.
We did a thing on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me once. It was like a story that came up that was about how like scientists studied like your endorphins or whatever it is that gets released when you swear, and
Yeah.
it is like a stress relief to swear, which is why when my dad stubbed his toe, he swore in
Oh,
the language.
I think I was on that episode with you.
Yeah, it was really fun. Aww.
Yeah.
There's a
Sorry, guys.
Pomeranian.
There's a dog.
Is it a pom?
He's a pom, and he loves a swear word.
Is his name like Fuckstick or something?
His name is Fuckstick, guys. Those of you listening on YouTube, watching on YouTube, you can look at his face, and he really looks like a fuckstick.
It totally
but
does.
it is. I think swearing is a stress relief, which is why most people do it when it sort of comes out, and you're like, "Oh shoot, sorry, I said that."
Yeah.
It's the overuse does. I don't know. It's like any other word. I think it just.
Well, one of the things that Edmondson pointed out that just really, this is something that like I think about a lot. That, you mentioned that obscenity, and this is what the writer points out, it loses its power and meaning in ubiquity, and this point really felt right to me. That quote, compulsive vulgarity, taking Drek all the time, gives evidence of a troubled view of life and spreads it. So basically he makes the point by the end of the piece that like we're not just swearing, but we're spreading this kind of like we're spreading the use of the swear words, but we're also spreading the negative view of the world by doing so. And it kind of makes everything worse. And it actually is the first thing that gave me pause. I mean, for me, it was always like, it was just fun or whatever, you know what I mean, to throw it in. And now I'm like, oh, I don't want to actually use it to spread negativity, because I think that's part of the problem. I think we're in a time where negative stories get clicks, and it doesn't matter if you go into a headline and you're having a good day and you're feeling good about the world. When you see a negative story, you click on it. So it doesn't mean that everything is worse, but suddenly you're now engrossed in a bad story, and it's going to make you feel riled up and shitty, even if you're not riled up and shitty, right? And so I feel like one of the problems with like civility globally is this thing of like how we're spreading negativity online so easily, and then swearing becomes an outgrowth of that. Thoughts on these theories?
It's very interesting. My instinct was to say like, well, I fucking disagree. But that was just a joke. No, I think it makes a lot of sense. And like you said, with our politicians swearing more, or like letting that mask slip, it just becomes much more accessible, and it's like we're all expected to do it. And be that cynical and that big of an asshole, and
that big, right? Because we're seeing politicians be bigger and bigger assholes, right, Peter? I mean, I don't know. What do you feel?
I think also, I mean, Trump's, even though he didn't ride, this almost derailed him, but the word "grab her by the" was everywhere, everywhere, and that wouldn't have been everywhere if it wasn't for we are quoting this direct thing from this guy. And obviously it wasn't in the context of him running for office, but it did. I wonder if that also broke down the gates, because I just remember being like, I cannot believe they're showing this on CNN without bleeping it and writing in the lower third, writing what the word is, not P star dollar sign Y, like fully writing. It's I think it's also, I think people probably think like they don't think that about that point, that like you're being dragged down as you're saying it. It feels like, oh, it's a constant hit of that endorphin release and that stress relief all the time, but it kind of weakens that grinds those little things down to a nub. So it actually isn't a release every time. It just lowers you and just cheapens the value of speech, and it actually, you're not getting the release that you would get if you
it's a little bit like scrolling, right, on Instagram or whatever, where you might have some sort of endorphin release from like oh, what's that? You have a second of that, but the overall effect is it ruins you psychologically.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like that's like kind of a similar thing happening, but like linguistically and maybe at a less intense pace. Folks, let me know. What do you think? This question got me really worked up when I read this piece. So check it out.
I hope the comments are just full of curses.
Yeah.
But hopefully, even nice ones, even nice curses.
Yeah, you were fucking great.
yeah, exactly. We need more of that.
I love the shit out of this.
All right, well, folks, that's the end of the show, and I want to thank you both for being on the show and being so delightful. Peter Grosz, where do the people of Fake the Nation find you?
You can find me pretty much at all social media, which we've all talked about is so wonderful.
So good for you.
At Peter Grosz, and then you can see me in New York City doing stand-up, but you got to follow me at my stupid social media to find out where I'm doing it. And improv.
He's so fucking fun on stage. That was a good use
Thank
of,
you.
I think.
Yeah.
Oh, if you're in New York,
cursing.
come to the UCB on October 2nd to see a show called Two Square with me and John Lutz, 7 p.m. It's a very good improv show. I know very good improv show sounds like an oxymoron, but this is a good one, I promise. It's really good.
Yeah. Okay, guys, go. He's so phenomenal on stage. Jolenta, where do people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Hot Mess-terpiece Pod. And that's where we post all sorts of things, talking very seriously about reality TV.
Guys, this is the balm we need to help us during these troubled times. So definitely subscribe. And you know where to find me and all the things I do. I want to thank everyone who makes this show a possibility. That's our wonderful producer, Rob Heath. Thanks again to Gaby Elter for writing our theme music. Oh, just a reminder, if you happen to be getting this and you're in Chicago, you go on Thursday morning, go get tickets for Wait, Don't Tell Me. I'll be guest hosting. And also, I want to remind you to support the show at patreon.com/Negin Farsad. And you can email us with any questions or concerns at fakethenationpodcast@gmail.com. Otherwise, we'll be back in your earballs next week.